And we're back. It's time to go into our final series of the evening. We have the Seoul Dynasty going up against the LA Valiant in another series to see whether or not the Valiant are going to be able to find a monstrous upset. They have somewhat consistently, taken teams to, map 5 sets, teams that we didn't really think that, they had any business doing that to. We'll see if they can do it again here tonight.
It's been a rough run for the Valiant so far. I mean, they've beaten a few teams. Their record isn't, the worst it could be, but they right now are struggling to sort of get away from the Guangzhou Charge, who are imminently chasing them in the standings. They are only 1 point in the lead, 1 win ahead of the Guangzhou Charge, which doesn't speak to any sort of safety for the LA Valiant at all in order to either make the Summer Showdown tournament or, more importantly, make play-ins for the playoffs postseason part of the season this year, because Charge are racing in, and they have looked good. They being the Valiant here in their last 2 games. It's unfortunate that they haven't been able to win, because it's 2 map 5s in a row. Map 5 versus Philly, map 5 versus Guangzhou Charge, and now they have to play maybe the best team in the region, who just destroyed Chengdu in their opening week. And Valiant have to find a way to somehow defeat that beast, which doesn't really seem possible for most teams.
No, it does not. They have shown some wonderful signs of life. The changes that the Valiant have made, much like the side of Seoul Dynasty, have been working out for them. Dia has looked absolutely wonderful in the Junker Queen role. And Sashin has very much slotted into the support lineup, much like Prophet has for his squad, with little to no issue. So clearly, things are working. The cogs are turning. It's just whether or not everything falls in place perfectly for them to be able to take down the Dynasty, because Soccer Fits as a DPS duo now have also just been impeccable. So they certainly have their work cut out for them. We'll see if they're up to the task, as here, of course, is the starting 5 at the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Prophet's still going to be there alongside Vintane.
And I think the biggest question here was, if you paid attention to roster moves recently, it was announced that Creative has been traded off the Seoul Dynasty onto Houston, and in return, they received another flex support, and people wondering, well, does that mean LR15 is going to play today? No, he's not. Obviously, he's 40 errors. And I don't know if he's with the team just yet. Maybe he is, but my sort of perspective on this is what Seoul is doing now is working. First of all, I don't think you'll ever bench Prophet on Seoul. He's too important to the team. He's too good of a player. And if you do move Eris into a support position to play Brig this meta, Prophet would have to take over the Genji position from Stalker. Stalker most likely takes the Sojourn position off of Fitz. You are basically displacing 2 members to kind of off-roll them again, or to move them in roles, even though they play those roles before. It's still disruptive to the team. To then insert 1 extra player that you haven't actually played with as a squad yet. You don't know what the dynamic's going to be. And to me, I think the thing that makes the most sense is don't change anything yet, because you don't need to fix what's not broken. If you are winning with your current squad with Prophet on Brig, keep doing what you're doing and keep winning.
Yeah, and I mean, I would think that, given how long these things usually take to get worked out, we probably do have Iris back in Korea at this point, but you definitely want to give him ample time to practice alongside the team in scrims before you debut him out in a match. Granted, you could say if there's an opponent that you want to pit him against, Valiant would be right up there alongside the Charge with teams that you'd feel a little bit more comfortable doing that with, against. But
still a risk, actually.
Yes, I mean, there is a risk to it, no matter who it's going to be against, especially against the Valiant, given that they do have that proficiency to take you to map 5. So we'll have to just wait and see with bated breath as far as when Iris is going to be joining the squad in an official match. But for now, it will just be this solid 5-man squad.
And the thing is like,
it's a nice win rate.
Versus Valiant of all teams. Speaking of win rates, actually, I'll speak to that. As you see, the control win rate 9-4. The overall win rate between the 2 teams is pretty insane as well. You have an overall win rate franchise 8-3 in favor of Seoul. Seoul are currently on a 7-match win streak versus the Valiant all time. The last time the LA Valiant actually beat the Seoul Dynasty, and you're gonna have to turn your clocks way back for this one, was 2018, May 17th, 2018, Stage 4, Week 1. That's how long it's been since the Valiant have beaten Seoul ever.
Yeah.
Damn near the start of the Overwatch League in Season 1. So this is a franchise matchup that has been heavily Seoul for its entire existence. We'll see if that changes today. The Dia Queen back up, coming up against Smurf. Perhaps God of all tanks.
I mean, he certainly is. I think it's fairly inarguable at this point. It's the flexibility and the proficiency that he's shown on everything that has been asked of him. He's absolutely the best tank player in the world right now. For now, some opening skirmishing going to be coming down. Fitzy going to slide over to the side, get himself a live shout. Now pop there by Dia Smurf matching as well. First lockdown at the point goes the way of the Dynasty. Vinhim going to be taken out, but Stalker just managed to find a nice little punish there, claiming Becky and allowing him to go ahead and catch up and take the lead as far as this blade charge is concerned. Valiant still playing far forward. Dia down to a sliver of HP. Healing gets pumped in here to the Junker Queen, trying to keep him alive. The retreat will be sounded. Stalker nearly overextending for just a moment there. Falls down to 33, but eventually the health packs will come flying in from Prophet. He'll be able to stay alive.
Everyone's back. That's another 5v5. Vindame's returned as well. You'd imagine that maybe Valiant could have had the advantage there, given that they had the extra healing, but even then, Dia was so low, they couldn't keep him alive. So, testament to the damage output of the Seoul Dynasty. 31% and counting as well. Dia low again. He's first blooded.
Yeah, nice little group there. I believe Vinhim setting up for the isolation. They find the kill. Now they're looking for Sasha. The blade not going to be able to get him in the end. And they'll just keep him at arm's length. So it's some damage offered up. No kills to be found specifically here for Stalker off the ult, but it's still going to be the Dynasty profiting in the fight, managing to go ahead and just continue to win this out, now cresting 50%.
And it seems like it was one long fight, right? We got a bit of a minor bit of respite in the middle there to take a bit of a short break, but ultimately, because Valiant never backed out, it did feel like one extended engagement. Stalker finds the blade within that engagement, and as mentioned, Seoul had the cap under control the entire way through.
Rally's rolling, making their way over to the point. Blade available. Rally now, dropping off. Dash up, there's the blade. He's looking for Fitz. Gets pushed up to the side though. Can't find him. Vinhim has just enough time to go ahead and set up for the sound barrier. And it's going to be Dia getting taken down first and foremost. Slings it even matching with his own beat. Just not enough to try to keep him alive. Now Becky going to be taken out as well. Overclock still held on to here by Fitz. He says, you know, I don't need to use this because Stalker is just killing everybody.
That would be the 100-0 likely coming in as well. Dia nowhere near this rampage. No other players have any ultimates left. In fact, there's barely any Valiant members alive to go for this touch. Linksa will try. He's just being booped away. And I think the boops have been fantastic. You look at Prophet and especially Vindame, when you look at it from Becky's POV of trying to get the blade in, immediately when he pulls blade, Vindame's first action is to boop him away, and he just can't get any value. Dia's been under pressure the entire round so far. Again, opening neutral, they had the one support advantage, double healing versus Seoul Dynasty's solo healing, and that wasn't enough to give Dia an HP advantage, which again is testament to the damage output from Seoul Dynasty, specifically Stalker, with an amazing number of frags in that opening round, just putting Valiant to the sword, quite literally.
Well, backs against the wall. Looks like Stalker taking a quick little peek over at Jin.
Oh, look at the read though.
Says, you know what? I'm going to do that too. But yeah, Becky, he's going for the Echo, and you've been talking about it, how this is a nice, advantageous battle here for Becky. See how he fares.
No, he's staying.
He's staying.
And here's the thing is, your team's like, if you suspect the other team is going to go to the fire, you can make the read to start out on the Echo, and if you are correct in that read, you are advantage in the fight. But if you make the wrong call and Stalker's on a Genji, then you might be at a disadvantage. So very risky, but Valiant, they get the heads up.
Oh, good call to go ahead and shift away from the open ground there. Valiant go shift away, now start playing into the point, which has become unlocked. Dia falling low, and Stalker will be able to get the killing blow. 63% already built up here towards that barrage. Linksa now dead. It's just going to be death from above. They go ahead and they clean him up, dash over to the side. He keeps himself safe as Becky desperately wants to get that punish, but will just be greeted with a shield to the face by Prophet for the final kill.
It's the overall damage pressure as well from Seoul, just being overwhelming. They're pushing Valiant back. I think Valiant giving up on that high ground fight to go towards a low ground on the point is a little bit involuntary. They were mostly forced to do that, just given that they couldn't hold their ground. And usually in this sort of matchup, Becky should have a lot of confidence to fly into Stalker and challenge him straight up. But if the rest of the Valiant isn't able to hold ground, Becky can't just move forward either. So you can't apply this Echo versus fire advantage unless the rest of the team is in a position to also walk on forward and support Becky.
He only has that duplicate available, so can play a little bit more recklessly. Likely going to be a Junker Queen dupe. He has a good selection of it. He's going to move forward, and yep, there it is. Goes for the copy, but Fitz instantly finds Easy Hunt. There's the dash forward. Rod comes in. Becky will be able to shut him down, but They lose one jump
late
now
bait.
they're about to lose the second one as Becky will be taken out of this dupe here in just a moment as it looks to expire. Rampage nearly built up for him, but despite that, despite the kill, they just cannot win it out. Stalker says, yep, my work here is done. Shifts back over to the Genji.
Linksa wanted to go for a 3-man sound barrier there. The barriers did come through, notably from Stalker. Now he's going over towards the Genji. But it was just too late because Link's session dies anyway. Linksa goes for a 2-man sound barrier. I think the 3-man wouldn't have even really been worth it. Once Stalker's pulled out that barrage, damage has already been done. And as I sort of mentioned, the Genji is a better matchup versus the Echo. So
okay.
And this might be
it. Fitz.
I think the round's over. Map's
yeah,
over.
it's certainly looking that way. 2 quick kills. Overclock. Still has 100 charge. Looks for it. Okay, won't get the shot connected there onto Langza, but I mean, aside from that, it's going to be, extended little team wipe as Langza was the last one standing. And there you go. Langza just giving his life to try to extend it a little bit further, but nothing to be done. Very swift rounds here. Very dominant at the hands of the Seoul Dynasty as they take it 2-0.
Seoul not giving anybody a chance to breathe today. Certainly not Valiant, not me, when I'm trying to do a bit of analysis. And Fitz is like, you know what, let me just pull the trigger on the overclock. Double kill coming on through. Valiant can't respond. Dia finishes on, I think, 65% ult charge. Didn't even get to see a single rampage off the course of either of the 2 rounds. Becky didn't get to see a rampage through his duplicate. As I mentioned, the Echo normally does have a very good matchup versus the Fire, but that only applies if your Echo can actually get into combat. And it seemed like Valiant as a total sum unit couldn't get into combat, whether you're playing Genji or Echo or what have you. And then all it needs is Stalker plays 1 barrage, swaps to Genji, which plays well into the Echo in that matchup. And then Becky's now suddenly on the wrong hero. And Seoul Dynasty, I don't even think the heroes made much of a difference there. Seoul looked like they could play anything versus the Valiant and just win. So at the end, they could just limit test if they want to.
I mean, they kind of showed a little bit of that versus the Chengdu Hunters, when Chengdu came out with a wild comp, and they got kind of caught off guard by it initially, and they said, okay, let's match. They were able to win that second round, and then everyone conceded to go back to the Junker Queen meta for that third round. But I mean, what more is there to say? Not much, I guess. Just a very clean 2-0 starting to Paul for the side of the Dynasty. Now the Valiant backs against the wall have to try to respond as we once more go over to Hollywood. We'll see if they can do it when we come back, so don't go anywhere. A 1-0 lead so far here for the Dynasty. Now we get ready to move into Hollywood to see if the LA Valiant can go ahead and tie this up. But, I mean, if they can, it'll be a big turnaround because that first map in Nepal didn't really give too much inspiration or hope.
No, not at all. That's one way to go out. Completely dominated. 200-0 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Nothing redeemable from the Valiant whatsoever on that map. And I don't think it's a wild thing to consider that this was probably always going to be the case, given how damn good Seoul have been so far. Well, this year, minus MSM plus the tournament specifically. Then the 3-0 versus Chengdu, who look at least like the third best team, and Chengdu look a heck of a lot better than the Valiant. So given that there could be a bit of a canyon between Seoul and Chengdu, then Chengdu versus Valiant, I mean, this should be an exceptionally brief series in favor of Seoul, where everybody on Seoul looks better than their counterpart on the Valiant by a fair margin.
Yeah. Tough one to call. We'll have to see what happens, though. Will be the Valiant first on the defense. Dynasty getting ready to go on the attack. Looks like Fitz is just going to be looking for that potential opening shot, but I think they should be wise enough to this to not really expose themselves to get punished that early on. We'll have to just wait and see, because we have seen some players get pretty close, including Vinham as well, getting tagged by, I believe it was Leave. So sometimes you forget that somebody could just go for the Widow right off the rip.
I'd like to see if Seoul can, not quite on the attack, but on the defense, maybe attempt to do this kind of like spawn camp on A kind of deal, because it is very hard. This is one of the maps that you can't really spawn camp on, but maybe Seoul could be good enough. We're going to see the Fitz Ashe come on through now, see how long this goes for. He might just go back to Sojin at some point. Does bring back good memories. I don't know if you remember, but last year Fitz on this map on the Ashe was phenomenal. Right now, he is being chased down.
That he is. Falling low as is Sasha, getting tagged up, and I mean, everybody's just pushed off the point. This feels very reminiscent of what happened to Chengdu versus Dynasty. They just force them into the back, and they start getting the cap for free. There's a drop down. Stalker landing on top of their heads. Dashes through. Pops to deflect, gets a little bit of damage. Pushed back into them. So far, no kills to be found. Sasha still hovering down below half HP fairly consistently here. And again, they are zoned. That's 2 ticks gained. Vinham gonna be the first one to fall. Nice jagged play there from Dia. Does find one. That's enough confidence to go ahead and have them push back forward. Dia will find a second elimination and a third. So just gonna go ahead and start hard carrying his squad. Becky will go ahead and get involved a little bit more. Looks for profit. Nice pushback from Vinham. Will go ahead and mitigate any further losses, but it's a good answer back. Granted, they did give up 88.8%. Make a wish.
Actually, they're in a position to maybe snowball the next fight, because Becky did a ton of damage there. It might have been Dia picking up the final blows, but Becky did the hard lifting. He's already got a blade after roughly 1 fight there. So if there's a world of hope for the Valiant to continue this defense forward, it's going to be off the back of a Becky blade. I don't think Seoul ready. I don't know that Seoul knows that Becky has blade yet.
We'll see. Well, now they certainly do know. It's going to be commanding shout to the back end. Looks for a target, but immediately is going to be zoned away. Again, Profit and Vinham doing their damnedest to just make sure that he cannot get on top of them.
Sucks.
A good shutdown.
They
now
needed that
rally to go ahead.
Yep.
Escorting them forward here onto the point. Both Lucios beat at the ready. Dueling rallies for now. Smurf keeping up here with Dia. The dash at the back, the blade at the ready. Initial push is there, but he dashes once more to try to get on top of them. The damage is coming through. The shielding helps keep them alive so far on the side of the Valiant. Dia continues to go lower and lower, and eventually Profit will manage to find him. Cleanup starts coming through as Becky is only able to find Fitz, and I don't think he's going to be able to get too much more done. Zion now jumped on, forced off the high ground, cleaned up, and that'll be the cap coming through. So they drain a little bit more time off the time. Becky, oh my god, the sensitivity is just going wild as they try to track him up there in the corner. Cleanup comes through, and it's 4 minutes now for the push.
Find out what Stalker's settings are here, guys. Copy him, because whatever he's doing, it's working. A bit of a minor slowdown for Seoul on the initial push, obviously losing, I believe it was Vinham or somebody early, and they had to fall back, but the comeback from Seoul Dynasty on their second attempt was pretty brilliant. They just had to survive against Becky's blade. I think Becky might have pulled early there. Seoul just back on out. They shout speed backwards. Becky doesn't want to risk overextending and dying, fair enough. Then Valiant lose all the leverage they had on that defense. Stalker's blade does way more, even despite the lengths of sound barrier. At least Easy Hunt will get Vinham, so Valiant have a 5v4.
what they do. Bob's still going to be committed to this, and Stalker gets taken down. So dropped to a sliver of HP, and Dia does have the finishing shot. But Bob, for now, just going to be occupying the cart. Actually gains a little bit of extra distance for them, but with Fitz falling, that is going to be them slowed up for now. 3 minutes remaining, though. So just a quarter of the way there for the defense right now are the Valiant.
I actually, part of me respects the Bob being thrown up. Part of me thinks it was a bit of a waste from Fitz. And part of me that respects it is like they are concerned that maybe Valiant would chase for kills, and Seoul Dynasty just wanted to basically have an insurance policy that would give them a pseudo 5v5 in that fight if Valiant wanted to get aggressive. Now they are lacking one
what a
That's
pull!
a brilliant pull from Smurf.
Unbelievable!
Might get a kill off the back of that as well.
I mean, it forces a commanding shout out, that's for damn sure. What a shot from Smurf. Just yoinks him right off the high ground. Right back here into this cart push. You can see, Easy Han not really in a position that he would prefer to be playing in. Makes him a lot more exposed. Rally's going to be rolling. Fitz still on quite a bit of fire. The Rampage again does only find lengths up, but Becky's going to be shut down the blade. Finding nothing. Profit absolutely annihilates him. Easy Han with the overclock. Let's get a nice headshot. Takes out Smurf. He's fishing for a little bit more, but Vinham will go ahead. Find some revenge for that earlier elimination. The Dynasty continue to chase in. Rampage going to be popped in desperation here. Dia, he does manage to connect onto multiple members. Stalker pulls the blade, but he's down to 22 HP and he can't do anything. Sasha cleans up 3 kills. Now he's looking for a 4th. Vinham is going to try to exit. Looks like he will be able to do so, but what a turnaround.
Yeah, it was a desperation Rampage coming through from Dia. He was trying to get healed up by that Rampage as well. I think it was like 4 members, which is a lot of healing if you're considering that all that wound damage is converted to HP. Still dies, but as the members of Seoul Dynasty tick down from the bleed, Sashin comes in and just picks everyone off, and they were all on 1 HP. Sashin just goes 1 through 3, and the defense is suddenly back in action for the LA Valiant, despite losing Easy Han and Becky's ultimates. Sort of a sound barrier here versus sound barrier. Bit of a considerable slowdown for the Seoul Dynasty. Still enough time to finish the map. The Valiant are keeping this one close.
Yeah, aside from that, it's just going to be the Bob, the next closest thing being built up right now, unless Prophet can really get himself into the thick of a fight and build up for a quick rally. Dynamite not quite connecting. I think it's a little bit too early of a pop as Becky just gets tagged every single time he tries to drop down. Rejoins in alongside Dia, and that's going to have to be the beat. Dropped in. Vinham using his 2nd to go ahead and match. Dynamite taking through Dia. Focus fire. Fitz gets the headshot in the end. Goes ahead, gets the punish. Should be the cap. Coming through, barring any crazy heroics to be found here. Fitz just tracking everybody beautifully. Putting damage
save
in.
ultimate here as well.
Yeah. Doesn't need to commit it. Stalker's just slicing and dicing. Catches Langza there in midair. Looks for a little bit more. There's the finish. There's the cap. Just shy of 2 minutes, though. So still not a great position to be in here for the side of the Dynasty, given how the Valiant have been buying time.
Well, it's a great farm up for the Dynasty, given that if you look at the ultimates now, they very much start popping ahead of their counterparts on the other end. Beyond that as well, it just came down to a neutral fight. Short double sound barriers with burn, but Langsa has to burn sound barrier early because Dia took too much damage. Why did he take damage? Because he was the only one contesting payload. Valiant allows Seoul Dynasty to get so much free push. Eventually, Dia said, "I'm going to have to be the one touching," but he just eats all the damage from Seoul, and it's not a good fight for them. In Seoul, they can still burn ultimates here, so they're in a great position.
5-man jump out off the high ground. Stalker now pulling the blade. The Bob finds Sasha, and that buys him a little bit of extra time to live. Stalker eventually will fall. Becky able to find the punish. His own blade nearly available. But the rest of the team suffering heavy losses. Smurf looking for that Jagged Blade connection to try to get the shutdown here onto the Genji. It's not going to happen.
Still pushing, by the way.
Still free pushing for now. Dash to the side, avoids the axe. The Jagged Blade again, not quite going to get the connection. Somebody's going to have to touch. The rally's rolling. They managed to get there in time. 2 meters left to go, and it looks like the Dynasty say, no, let's go ahead, reset, wait for 5, wait out the rally.
Yeah, just respecting the rally and the respawners from the LA Valiant, but they get major distance on 1 push. This is their first attempt on C, by the way, and the first sort of pseudo reset. Time is a bit of an issue because they did lose a couple fights on B.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get the finish with time.
There's enough. They have to work on 4. Realistically, they need Smurf's Rampage, but it's just slightly too far away.
It doesn't have it. Sound barrier drops. He pulls the blade. He goes low. The commanding shout comes in. Not going to be able to try to keep, or not going to be able to find any kills in the fight. And as you say, Dia does not connect onto anybody with the Rampage, and that could be absolutely costly. There's the Rampage available now. Cuts down through 2 of them. One of them's Easy Han. With the overclock pop, he's only going to be able to find a single kill. The rest of the squad now trying to stay alive. They're fighting against Becky, and the cleanup will be there as Smurf puts him in the dirt. The finish comes through crucially. They do manage to buy enough time to take this to OT, but the Valiant still need to finish the map for that to really matter.
It's a great silver lining for the LA Valiant, but you know, silver linings end up only being just that and not enough to win games and win maps sometimes, and that may just yet still be true for the LA Valiant here. As you sort of mentioned, they have to finish the map here. We'll take a look at Dia's situation. It's going to be a 4-man rampage and then Sashin cleaning up. So Dia dies, everyone's on low HP, Sashin swings, and it's a large number of frags with, I believe, only Vindame getting away. But at the end there, it's really unfortunate. Dia will go from a 4-man rampage to a 0-man rampage in the final fight. And as I said as well, for Seoul Dynasty, they needed to wait for Smurf to get his rampage to really win. And when I say wait, I don't mean like just sit on your hands kind of wait, but you have to play the fight, use your sound barrier to defend against the ultimates of the LA Valiant, and then as the fight extends and Smurf finds his rampage, you suddenly have your win condition, you push forward, everyone's dead, and Seoul Dynasty get the cap. So I think they were still in a comfortable position to get the cap, just won't have 0 time. But as we move through here, look, if Seoul Dynasty just hold on A and B, none of that matters. So,
and I think that that's a big part of why they decided to make that decision to just go ahead and pull back away. A lot of teams are gonna, you know, panic in that moment where you don't have that much time left. Step away from the payload with left, you know, with 30 seconds remaining seems counterintuitive. But they say no. We know how good we are on defense. We're just gonna play for the finish of the map, have that locked in as a bit of a, you know, a backup, you know, and then look to hold them.
The mark of a good team is one that isn't necessarily always interested just in embarrassing and dominating their opponent. It's just about getting the win no matter what the win looks like. You don't need to get the widest canyon of a scoreline diff here. You just need to get the win, and that's enough. As long as it's a 3-0 here and they get maximum points for map differential. Obviously, you just get 1 point for the league for winning, but map differential can matter, especially when Shanghai Dragons are on your tail. So yeah, that's really what Seoul need. Fit's still on the Ash for what it's worth in the defense.
Decently slow going there at the start. Now looking to go ahead amp up the pace a bit. Becky falling low. Narrowly manages to stay alive. Good healing coming through from Sashin, who is now dead. The Jagged Blade goes in, and it's going to stay there. They get the cleanup. Easy Han just chased. Stalker gets in behind him. The cleanup coming through. The first volley, unfortunately, is not going to lead to much of anything here for the side of the Valiant.
Wow.
A team kill, and that's a minute gone.
It's a 5-0 start as well. 5 players alive versus 5 players dead on Valiant. Maximum cleanup there, maximum ult charge gained. Credit to Becky for at least keeping up with Stalker, who otherwise would be running away with this one. I think this is also where Bob has really high value on the defense. It's just great for contesting this entire time, so that's going to be the real value from Fitz when he eventually gets that. And he's also farming a decent amount off Dynamite as well.
It's steadily building up. Becky, again though, still really great ult charge time from him. Continuing to just get these blades up as quickly as possible. Han eating the dynamite around the corner. Sends out
my god, that was a sniper.
The rail into the axe is enough to get the kill. Smurf now going to be taken down. The beat's still going to be committed to the fight here by Vindame. Stalker pulls a blade of his own. He's going to find the first elimination. Now the follow-up comes through, and Becky's just unable to get anything done. The 4v5 is won. Another team kill. Another minute gone.
And it just comes down to the support ultimate charge difference when you have the Seoul Dynasty winning as hard as they did in previous fights. Langsa dies at 99. Don't get baited by the fact that he has a sound barrier now. It wasn't available in the last fight. That means Stalker can get the work done. Now Fitz has a bob to delay as well. Said that Easy Han probably needed to be the one to open the fight. He needs an opening snipe. And it's what we got. We got a snipe onto Smurf, plus the Carnage hit on the axe as well. It eventuates into a kill onto Smurf, as mentioned. But even a 5v4 there wasn't enough for the Valiant.
Okay, rally's rolling. As the chaos ensues. Dia falling low, the sound barrier now layered in as he goes down about half HP. Lingza keeping him alive. Becky, however, focus fire down low, and Prophet gets the kill. Dia now dead in the corner as Stalker pursues forward to find 2. There's just nothing to be done here. The ult's committed. Both support ultimates to just Prophets, but they lose out of the fight. It's another team kill. It's another minute gone. Have you guys caught on to the storyline here? What's happening? Because every single minute, 5 people on the Valiant die.
Like clockwork, really, is what's going on here. And we're, by the way, when we get to the OT, the final fight engaged, Stalker and Smurf very likely to have their ultimates up. Dia will be able to compete as well. Rampages can and will decide this one. So if you're Dia, I think you really just need to find the opening Rampage if you can. But spacing's important. Like, it's easy for Seoul to just space properly. It's hard for Valiant to do that on their attack.
Okay. There's the overclock popped. Trade on the Lucios. Both suffering some losses here. Fitz down low. Becky able to pursue forward. Does get that kill, but Prophet was trying to get in there to actually save him.
Oh, dude,
Becky will go ahead and clean up everything. He is, yeah, what's that, 4 kills for him in this fight? Impeccable. So right here at the last second, they will break the trend. They will not go down, and said they will be the team that finds 5 kills, and also a cap. 2.5 minutes now added to the time bank, as Becky is also 7% away from another blade.
Yeah, see, you thought every minute Valiant get wiped, but not the 4th one. In the 4th minute, Valiant win, hey? So, something about clocks being right twice a day, I don't know. LA Valiant now, let's see what happens. They can push on through. Remember, they do have to finish the map here. And the best part about that push with Valiant is they actually did it without any ultimates spent, but it also means the Seoul Dynasty didn't spend as well. So both teams now going to have to be spending big time for this next fight. Pretty similar ultimates as well. In fact, identical ultimates available.
Yeah. 2 support ults, get wiped. No ults, win the fight. Sasha now going to be taking down Becky as well. Pulls out his blade, does get on top of Fitz. It's going to be a support for a DPS, but now with these Yun going down, certainly the man advantage here for the side of the Dynasty is now they just look for some cleanup, and there's just nowhere the Dia can go. Go ahead, get cut down in the corner. Becky trying to out-trade against Stalker, but there's just too many supporting cast members here from the Dynasty, and he's just going to be an extended little stagger here on the back end. Now 1.5 minutes remaining. 4 ults available for the side of the Dynasty.
It only cost them the 1 blade to pull through as well. To be fair, only 1 blade was used by Valiant, but when you consider the rest of the lineup for what is available resource-wise, you have to get through so much if you are the Valiant. I mean, ideally, you play a fight, burn ultimates from the Seoul Dynasty, reset and go for another one where they don't have less, but I don't know if they have time for that.
The rally to Bob and Dia just evaporates. No choice, no chance to use a Rampage here in this fight. He just gets wiped off the face of the earth instantly.
Are they spawn camping?
Looks like they might try for it.
And maybe they should, because there's no time. So when you don't have time here, LA Valley are very susceptible to just, you know, breaking under the pressure of a spawn camp. So I think that would be a good choice by Seoul. And they have the Rampage here still as well. Sound barrier to block out Diaz. Diaz under pressure. He's had to shout early.
But just trying to keep him honest. Ping's coming down. So, Easy Han trying to contest over on that high ground. Rampage through, only gets on a Smurf, and him going to be taken down. However, Becky able to find that kill. Stalker still doing some work, though. In the end, it's going to be a 2v3. I say in the end, we're still going. The knife not going to connect. Stalker makes his way out. The Dynamite just to try to buy some extra time. Here's Dia. Can't really push out around the corner. There's a little bit of extra damage down. 12 seconds remaining. They still have to finish the map if they want to try to take this to extra innings.
Smurf's coming. Big boy Smurf's coming with that big boy Rampage. Lynx is going to have to do a good job blocking that out. You need to survive long enough for Becky and Easy Hunt to get something done on their end as well. Their ultimate Stalker's cashing up on the blade. In fact, he's going to get his blade first. Seoul Dynasty have all the win conditions available, ready to go. Green light to pull the trigger.
Okay, the Rampage goes through, manages to find 3. Langston gets the beat out. Tries to keep them alive. The anti's still there, and Easy Hunt going to get cut down. Stalker with the blade, just slicing him right into his back. Finds the kills. Becky, now the last hope. He's still under heavy duress. The blade will expire. He and Langs are just trying desperately to buy some time, but it seems like it's just a matter of time before the cleanup comes through. So much pressure applied to the cart, they get zoned back away before they can retouch it, and the Dynasty will inevitably be able to win this one out. 2-0 lead now for them as they look for yet another 3-0.
And as mentioned as well, look, Valiant this time do play a little bit more competitively. They get some reasonable frags in there. They win some fights. It's not entirely one-sided, although still quite one-sided for Seoul Dynasty. We end up going to the OT for the Seoul Dynasty to finish the map, but full confidence in knowing that time bank's not going to matter here, because I don't expect both teams to finish. Seoul will get the finish line there, but the LA Valiant will only get as far as halfway through B at best. Seoul Dynasty with even a spawn camp that's not necessarily fully successful, but a measurement of a success is also bleeding down resources from the Valiant, getting the timer down as well. In that regard, they do get what they want out of the spawn camp and put the Valiant into a very tough situation in the final fight in OT, and buckling under the pressure. Seoul Dynasty have more ults to play through. Stalker's blade cuts down the Valiant. Becky tries his best, but it's not enough. Seoul on match point.
Yeah, I mean, some more signs of life, certainly, compared to what we saw on Nepal. So, clearly the Valiant, they can contend at times, but it's just so much pressure being applied here from the Dynasty. So many outplays, time and time again. that now they are in a position to reverse sweep. So I'll go ahead and do the Valiant fans a favor and move those goalposts for you. 3-2 Valiant easy in the chat. We'll see if they can start that run back when we come back, though, because it's going to be Circuit Royale once more for our escort map to see if this ends now or if the Valiant can extend this into a series. Don't go anywhere. We are back and maybe nearly done with this evening of matches because the Dynasty are currently leading 2-0 over the LA Valiant, who now need to pull off a reverse sweep, and it just doesn't seem possible this time around. You know, they have taken so many teams to map 5s in the past. They have made series competitive against teams that it felt like they had no business being competitive against. Right now, seems like not really possible. Seems like the Dynasty are just on a completely different plane of existence compared to them in some of these fights. There's some bright moments. Becky doing his damnedest to fight back and keep them in Hollywood, but it's just not enough at the end.
Some lights are on at home for the LA Valiant. I mean, like you sort of mentioned, Becky's trying his hardest here. Some of the blades are coming up, but notably the one important fight where Valiant are on the board as far as points goes, because they kept A, was due to Becky picking up those 4 kills as well. And if it wasn't for that, this could have been a full hold. Valiant would be at risk of losing with a 0-point lockout as well, which means they don't get a point on any map. At least Becky's trying to keep them alive here. You know, you also have Dia trying his best as well. He put in some damage there. He's able to get some reasonable kills. I believe he got that 3K on the first defense as well, something like that. Or,
yeah, he had a nice start.
There have been some moments, but not enough lights on at home. Certainly the alarm hasn't been turned on. There's no security because Seoul Dynasty's walked in, burgled everything, and walked on out. Fun fact, they are currently completely flawless in this qualifier for Summer Showdown. They have not dropped a single map in this their 3rd series. They are 8-0 for maps, and probably by the end of the night might be 9-0 for maps. And then later this weekend they play against the Guangzhou Charge, and if Guangzhou don't step up, being that Guangzhou only barely beat the Valiant 3-2, Seoul might end this weekend 12-0 in maps, completely flawless after 4 series.
And I mean, like you know, we're talking about before we even got into this series, the map differential could be a big difference maker when you have the Shanghai Dragons nipping at your heels. Forward hold to start things off as we move into Circuit Royale, though. The Valiant going to look to try to pile this one, but cheeky little teleporter play coming through. Now Fit's going to swap back over to the Ash. And this is already, made the Valiant scramble a little bit. I mean, they're tucking away into the actual spawn. The card's been grabbed.
Yeah, they have to. Well, there's a crossfire now because as they compete for this payload, Fitz is in spawn shooting. Dia's already taken a ton of damage.
That he is. Under fire. It's going to be the first blood. Stalker able to clean up 2. Langton now taken down, and I mean, it's just a beautiful read, a beautiful call made here by the side of the Dynasty. There is the wipe. The push has begun. Fitz says, okay, my job here is done. Goes right back over to the Sojourn.
It just transfers his ult charge directly to the Sojourn, like he didn't even have to. It's like he almost didn't even play the Ash, right? He's still keeping up right on top of Stalker, doing all the damage required. And flawless on the opening. No players died there. Everyone's just pushing up. And at this stage, you know, this next neutral has to be pretty damn good for the Valiant. Otherwise, Seoul simply cap A.
Stalker playing a fairly dangerous game, and Lengza, that's what I was talking about. You want to play around that ledge. All of a sudden that boop, that whip shot comes in. You're going to go sailing off the side. It was Vinheim who suffers that fate. As the chase comes in, they look for this 5-man cleanup. Looks like Prophet will manage to shield bash his way back into the spawn, but a really great return here from the side of the Valiant. I think it's just playing a little too close to the sun.
What do you think? Surely one of the most embarrassing things that can happen to you as a player is a Lucio getting booped off by another Lucio.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say
it's got to be up there.
Definitely not a good look, but they're looking to go right back on the offensive, seemingly pissed off a little bit now are the Dynasty. And Fitz will get on top of Langza, punishing him for his previous deeds of killing off Vinheim. We'll just go ahead and cut him down once more.
They're going to die quickly.
Becky is able to find one. Yeah, they need to go for this reset. Easy on cleaned up, but Stalker, man. Just identifying immediately where Becky's at, chases in, gets the melee hit. Prophet's already over there grabbing the card. This is so clean.
Even though you don't have Prophet playing the Genji, Seoul have not slowed down at all, because Stalker's Genji has been absolute fire. We've said this before, but I don't know how Arnold did it, but he's created and invented the world's first floating machine, and now they have 2 Prophets.
Yeah, it's amazing how much he's proved to be just a hyperflex. That's going to be blade for blade once more. The beat available for Vinheim, but he's going to drop it in. Prophet already dead, but it still seems like the fight is going to go the way of the Dynasty. Easy on sliding over to the side. The overclock still rolling for him. He's not finding really any purchase here with these kills. Smurf dropped in the back end. Beat committed.
That's a desperate sound barrier.
He's going for the 2-man beat. They can actually turn this one around. It'll look genius, and that's a great headshot there from Easy Han. He shuts down Stalker, and they're actually going to be able to win the blade.
Wow.
Wow, this time it works out for
easy for Easy Han. There it is. We saw the desperation 2-man beat on map number 1, I believe it was Nepal, and it was like, all right, well, that didn't work out for you. Probably wish you didn't do that. This time around, you get the head side of that coin, and it looks so good. Easy Han clutches through off the back of the extra green HP provided by Langsa, and the A-point defense is still alive. But for how long? Because Smurf has Rampage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one problem, is now your big counter strat to that Rampage is gone. Pushes for something with the Dragon Blade, not going to find anything. Dash through, cuts down 2. It's that anti-out. Dia's the first to fall. Axe across. Langsit now dropped, so the cleanup will be there in the end. So they commit the beat, they buy some extra time, but now Vindheim has a nice little 22% lead toward his next sound barrier, and the cart pushes through towards B.
As we say for this team, it is a valiant effort. They do give it their all, they put in their best, and it's it's admirable. At the end of the day, Seoul Dynasty, they will persevere. It does take a bit of time, you have to really, applaud the fact that Valiant have kind of led down this timer significantly. Only 2:30 remaining now for Seoul, which is the total amount of time you get for capping A.
Yeah.
Dia's turn now to go for the Rampage. Now, he did with the Rampage earlier this evening on Hollywood. He's got to land this one for sure, and it will be a fight winner as well if he lands it, or maybe Easy Hunt just does that.
I mean, it's just one of those ones where you feel time slows down. You're able to just go ahead and line that crosshair with relative ease. Snipe spits right out of the sky. Great little pick up there as Vindheim puts himself right into the middle of the fight. Survives for a hell of a lot longer than I would have anticipated, but eventually does get cleaned up. And Dynasty now are the ones that need to exit or reset fast.
They didn't have to spend any ultimates, just Easy Hunt finds a hitch on defense. They'll push on forward, full comp. That's what you need to see out of Valiant. You've got to be confident versus the Seoul Dynasty, who, they are a monstrous team, look like the best in the region, and it's unlikely to beat them. But small fights, one after the other, you might have a chance to hold B now, which is great versus the Seoul Dynasty. And a very conservative fight where they didn't have to spend much, and that's exactly how Valiant can pull through a victory.
We saw their time-buying abilities there on Hollywood on that defense, so we know that they can drain the clock. It's all about getting that finisher in the end. Blade's going to be coming through from both sides again. The sound barrier is there. Trying to keep everybody alive. Stalker finding one. Becky able to answer back. Doesn't make it a 1-for-1 as far as those breaks are concerned. Becky finds a third. Spitz will go down. Now the trade-up is there. Easy on again. Just starts clicking heads. Rail after rail. 3 kills for him, I do believe, or maybe it was 2 on the back end. Hard to say. Either way, the fight is won. The Valiant, they hold firmly.
Yeah, it was 3. I think Becky got the other 2 as well. It was 3 ultimates burned, right? I think it was Becky, Easy on Dia. All 3 had to use ultimates, but you got to do what you got to do. Soul burned 2 as well, so not quite even, but you do what you got to do to win that fight. And now we have less than 1 minute remaining. Double support ultimates online for Soul. Can be matched rather 1 support ultimate and 2 for the Valiant.
Yep, Smurf taken down. Prophet kind of zoned into the side room away from him. It's just easy pickings here to the side of the Valiant. Again, the Dynasty are headed for the hills. They need to try to cut them off, and they're looking for the stagger. Spitz takes a nasty shot. Stalker down low, and the kills will come in. Now they're looking to spawn camp.
They can spawn camp now. And they should, because there's no time. Somebody from the Seoul Dynasty has to go for the touch. It probably has to be Vindheim. Stalker's got a triple blink on his spawn. He's lost his blade for this as well. I don't think he was that close, but they have to split their attention.
Okay, well, Fitz manages to open it, finds Easy Hunt, sets up rail shot there on the legs, and they get the kill. They'll get Sashin as well. The card in the meantime is being pushed forward by Stalker off screen as they look to just go ahead and close out this fight.
Have to reset.
Fitz slides away. Dia,
they're just leaving him. Dia, they staggered him.
Yeah. They're just leaving him to his own devices. They know that he's in such a poor position, and now they can go in for the killing blow. Fitz will get it. Now they're pushing for OT.
Oh,
maybe one last chance at a fight
for the Valiant.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know if the touch.
They can't.
Even if they do touch, they don't have their tank, so this is done. Oh my goodness. Valiant?
Gonna try to go for it. They push their way out. The sound barrier there from Langza. He pulls the trigger on it. They all get antied, but they're managing to win this one out. Smart! The triple 1 special though. Slashes the axe. Finds Biggie, finds Langza. Vindheim takes down Sashin. Now it's just Dia and Easy Hunt against the world. Can they actually win this one out? Smurf taking a beating. Dia still relatively healthy. The rail shot from Easy Hunt going to be able to take him out. The nade is there. It's just tickling away at Vindheim, who's trying to still keep this cart contested.
It's just Dia.
Right click kill. He takes out Easy Hunt. Dia is eliminated. The rejoin comes in from Becky, swapping over to the Tracer. The Lucio there as well. Langza trying to keep it going. The recall going to be used. Sashin rotates back in. Smurf swaps over to the Wrecking Ball just to try to get there a little bit faster as this is down to the wire. And if they step away from this cart for just a moment, that OT is going to plummet so very rapidly. The pile driver not going to find any value. Dia, another Rampage, nearly online. It's 11% left to go as he looks to rejoin the fight. Continue to keep this one contested. Fitz is here on the Widowmaker as well. Sasha now taken out. Dia fights one. Fitz gone. The cleanup is there, and now it's just Stalker versus 4. And I don't think there's a damn thing that he can do. He kept it contested for a little bit longer, but the cleanup comes through. And the Valiant, they continue to make these rocky decisions, saying, you know what? We will 2-man beat. We will recontest without our tank. And twice now, it has come up with positive results for them. They get the hold right in front of B.
I can't believe it, but the Valiant have actually done it. They have held Seoul Dynasty in front of B, as you say, and it is a major sound barrier into a Becky Blade, and as the dust sort of settles here, Seoul Dynasty and Valiant trade very evenly in those kills, but it comes down to slightly closer respawns for the LA Valiant when the payload sits right outside of B. Valiant have the respawn advantage, not Seoul Dynasty. Seoul coming back with Ball, Smurf coming through to try and contest with the Wrecking Ball. Stalker's Tracer finds a pulse bomb, but it misses. Becky's Tracer at the end actually does some real work. EasyHan finds the overclock, and the Valiant start to come into ultimates, and later the fight goes. And I think Seoul actually, for the most part, played the overtime as well as they could have, because they staggered Dia, they made sure they had a 5 versus 4. So it's not like they made any serious mistakes here. I think Seoul put themselves into a very winning position, but the confidence from Valiant to say, we will go for this even as a 4v5 because we know D is respawning. He's going to come back. We have some ultimates to play through. And versus a team like Seoul, I agree. You have to just throw mud at the wall here. You have to see what sticks, because if you play too safe, you'll never beat Seoul. You got to take risks.
Risks, indeed, were taken. They benefit from it. Now, Dynasty going to be looking to just go ahead and pull off their own little spawn camp here from the outset. Like going to be burned. Dia, quite a bit of damage there. Pushed back away. Just keeping them locked over into this corner. Crossfire being set up. Dia pops the commanding shout. Just trying to keep everybody alive. Retreats back into the spawn room. It's top back up. Stalker taking a bit of damage here from the dynamite. Is Prophet going to be the first one to fall? Becky able to find that kill. Fitz answers back rather quickly, however. Shutting down the enemy Genji. Dash up into the skybox. They're trying to get rid of Langton, but he is just wall riding like a maniac. Still going to be just safe. He manages to retreat, but the fight still widely is being won here by the Dynasty. The cart has not been touched.
Well, they do give up some positioning now. They need to regroup as 5 here. That will give a moment of reprieve for the Valiant to also themselves escape from the spawn, regroup. We're going to get head into the neutral on the actual streets itself. So it does continue. We do extend this one. Notably, Stalker is very far ahead in the ult charge for his Blade. Linkser is more than caught up to defend against it, though. So this is going to be Beat versus Blade in a hot minute. Stalker makes sure he stays alive, though. You wouldn't want because he kind of snipes someone out.
Okay, they're not even going to wait for an aggressive ult. They just want to take the fight aggressively. It's the beat out from Vinheim. They try to push forward. Stalker takes a nasty shot. He backs away, and yeah, it absolutely could, because they don't get any kills off of it. Just a slight little reset here. Dia's still down to about half HP, but Sedley is getting chipped back up, top back up here. Sashin tries to get that rally online. Blade now pulled by Stalker. They force the sound barrier from Langza. Becky still 8% away, but he still finds a kill. Vinheim going to be taken out. Stalker now trying to back away, but he's got no cooldowns remaining, and Becky gets on top of him. 2 kills for him, looking for a little bit more, and now has the Blade at the ready.
It just seems like Seoul is trying too hard to press the issue here. Sometimes Valiant playing safely. They understand, you know, at what lengths they can make this progression happen. It's just survive against the Vinheim aggression from the sound barrier. Seoul trying to come on in, then come back in with your own, you know, sort of ultimates ready to counter the Blade with your own sound barrier from Langsa, and they don't even have to pull Becky's Blade. So now, again, back up, allow the Raider to come through. It's 2 out of 2 Achilles, where double support ultimates from Seoul Dynasty to aggressively tempo play into the LA Valiant. And LA Valiant's like, cool, use the ultimate, we will back on out, and now you don't have the ult.
I mean, it feels like they're starting to really download the tendencies here of the Dynasty. Blade now going to be pulled by Becky. Dashing in IZYHAN as well, just committing with the overclock. Finds 1, Becky gets 2. Kind of messes up the wall climb a little bit, but still will get over the top in the end to find Prophet. And that's the cap.
Yeah, there's no shot at this. And by the way, look at the time. This is a winnable map now for the Valiant, because they're going to have like 5 minutes. No, not quite, like 4:30, 4:40 to try and finish this. My math is bad. Let's forget they get 2. In any case, look, it doesn't matter.
It's okay.
They have enough. It's enough. It is enough time to finish the map. If they don't, if they don't throw this, if they continue winning these fights.
It just feels like right now the Dynasty are trying to match the style of the Valiant, but they're not a team that needs to throw everything at the wall and see what's 6. They can continue to just kind of, you know, play this one out cautiously. 2 for 2, each side, getting those antis out. Stalker narrowly staying alive to commanding shout. Keeps him in the fight for a little bit longer. Eventually, Becky does manage to find that kill. Now he's looking for Fitz, but Fitz says no. Shuts him down with a nice little headshot there, point blank. And finally, this will be a 1 fight and some cart control established for the side of the Dynasty. But the Valiant, like you said, they still have plenty of time.
Well, this is where it does get dangerous, though, because, you know, we're back into the Seoul Dynasty vortex spin cycle of LA Valiant kind of just get reset after reset after reset. They've nobly run out of ultimates now as well, while Seoul Dynasty is starting to build. You know, Vinheim's ahead of Langsa, and all you need to see is Seoul Dynasty not force those sort of tempo, sound barrier tempo rally plays and just play defensively versus the Valiant. and they can probably commit this hold. I think it just came down to Seoul getting a little bit too aggro for their own good.
What the? How did Becky get there?
That's just Becky being an ninja.
He just teleported in behind Fitz and nothing personal. Kid cuts him down. Sound barrier is still going to be used. They look to take the 4v5 fight. Prophet will get on top of Sashin, taking him out, helping to build up towards that next rally here. Try to keep pace. Still going to be 1v2 as far as those support ults are concerned. Dia, so the last one to fall here. Fight gets one. I mean, hold on to this, Becky. You cannot die now.
Oh, he's dead. Yeah, so two late deaths there, especially the one to Becky does hurt. So we talk about losing time. This is how you lose time, and now the spawn camp is in effect, and this is going to mean that Valiant no, actually they gave up the spawn camp. So Seoul Dynasty not even going to go for that. I think Seoul Dynasty can't afford to, because when you want to bleed down the timer versus a team like that, spawn camping is the way to go.
They're still going for a very aggressive push, and Dia just will get cut down moments before he could enter into that spawner door.
I don't know about the double ult though. They rally and blade. So what you're doing now is, because if you're if you're committing that many ultimates, Valiant can just sort of hold tight, build up their own ults, and as long as the payload distance is okay, they can still win. The payload is moving significantly backwards, so I think Seoul have kind of calculated this one correctly.
Okay, good push back. Keep Becky at arm's length. Axe, however, Dia somehow gets on top of Fitz, finds that kill. Smurf going low, gets cleaned up. Dia getting the elimination. Stalker will get Becky, but that's the only positive here for the side of Dynasty in the fight, as Dia cleans up, I believe, 4 kills in that whole thing. Maybe it was just 3. Hard to say. Either way, the cart now moving. 50 seconds remaining.
And I think there's a real shot now for the Valiant to make the comeback happen, because you have Rampage plus the Sound Barrier versus no support ultimates on the Seoul Dynasty. Again, they've been very aggressive with their support ultimates so far. Bob is available, but I think the Rampage is so much higher value. So with the kill for Vinde, they can seriously do this now.
Okay, Easy Hunt just finds one, pops the overclock, looks to go aggro. The mob does come through. They're looking to try to deal with that, but the Sound Barrier comes in from Langston. Just to go ahead and mitigate the majority of this damage. Easy Hunt is committing the rest of that ult to go ahead and clean up the Bob. Stalker finds Dia. The card is moving forward again.
They need Dia.
The Stalker's
Dia has a
Rampage.
Without the Rampage, this is not as winnable for the LA Valiant, so 10 seconds remaining. They have to commit a touch while taxing the Dia in. And that's the thing as well, Vindame is close to the Sound Barrier.
He needs to survive. Easy Hunt was able to find that initial pick on him in that last little fight. Can he stay alive and not Ajax the beat? 6% left to go. The dashboard, he's only going to connect on the Smurf. Certainly not as big of an ult as he were looking for. They can still try to play out the rest of this one. The Sound Barrier, however, going to be dropped in. Now Sasha's going to be taken down. Dynasty, they have the upper hand. Stalker finds his second kill. He's looking for a third. Puts his sights on Easy Hunt. There in the back, takes a nasty shot of damage from the rail. The overtime is going to bleed away. Everyone gets scattered. And in the end, it was looking damn close and possible for the Valiant to make it happen, but the Dynasty will win it out in the very last seconds of the map. A 3-0 for them once more. But this is one, at least with the last 2 maps, that doesn't necessarily tell the story. This Circuit Royale looked like it was in the hands of Valiant. Dynasty were just narrowly able to snatch it out.
I think Dynasty, got a little bit frisky at the start of that defense, but towards the end, they were not perturbed. Even against, I think, definitely not overwhelming odds, but odds favoring the Valiant. Dynasty, they held strong. I think the most important thing they did there is, I know a lot of people will probably look at that and be like, oh, Dia must have whipped his Rampage, you only got 1. But that's not what happened. Seoul Dynasty spaced properly, because when you know the other team has a Rampage and that is their overall win condition, you're spreading your forces a little bit further out and not just stacking together as 5. You'll notice there were a bunch of Seoul Dynasty members scattered across an entire last set of defense, some within the actual C casino area, some more towards the garages towards the left side from Valiant's POV, and then Smurf holding the ground in the front. So when Dia goes for a Rampage, there's really no one to hit except for Smurf. So maybe the only thing that could have changed it was Valiant play the fight without using the Rampage immediately and wait to see if there's a better opportunity to have Seoul Dynasty group. But otherwise, Valiant, they did all they could. Seoul, they knew what they were up against. Good play by Seoul.
Yeah, down to the wire, and I think Seoul walking away from this one sweating a bit more than they probably had anticipated, especially given the first 2 maps. Granted, Hollywood at times was pretty close and down to the wire. I think that if he hadn't had as strong of a pop-off performance, we might have actually been able to make a very serious argument for giving Becky the player of the match in this loss. But somebody who popped basically just as hard throughout this one is our birthday boy. It's Stalker, who is able to come up with yet another player of the match for himself. He's just continuing to be impeccable on this Genji. So everybody go ahead and wish him a happy birthday in the chat.
I don't even know. Is it today? Like today?
That's what I was just told.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, happy birthday to Stalker. Gets the win on his birthday. Gets to play the match again. I believe this is his third player of the match in a row as well. So all three games
he's picked them up
played
this
so
entire
far this stage.
Yeah.
He's picked them all up. And look, I know sometimes that does seem boring, but he has been the best player all 3 times. And maybe a special shout out to some of the other players like Smurf, who looked reasonable today as well. Fitz has had some good moments. The backline, Prophet and Vindame, good as ever. And Prophet, in fact, even had a number of final blows to his name as a Brigida player. But ultimately, when you look across the board, all 3 maps, man, just Stalker was unreal. He was leading the way for all the relevant statistics that he won, showing just how important Genji is in this meta and what it means to be a great Genji player in this meta, surprising everybody. And when it really comes down to it, you got to pick the best player from the performance shown, and it has been Stalker 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it's just been utterly impeccable. I'm kind of disappointed in production that we didn't quickly Photoshop a little birthday hat onto his image here. I think that would have been a nice little touch to go ahead and further celebrate his birthday. But I mean, what a performance from him! 82
later.
final blows. I mean, 82 rather limbs here with almost 34k damage dealt in a 3-0. So really solid work here from Stalker, who's just pounding the whole way throughout.
Remember, the first map was a 200-0 start as well. It was like a super one-sided. So he got the least amount. He got the least amount of time to stat pad in the first map. Probably he had the most time in the third map here. Second map actually had some reasonable distance to it as well, given that they finished the entire map. So Seoul Dynasty, I mean, it's not without some bruises along the way. You'll see this as a 3-0. You'll be like, yeah, of course, Seoul 3-0 Valiant. But this last map in particular for Circuit Royale, have to commend Valiant for really giving it the all and making it super close and within extremely fine margins. I think you can't be too upset with that. They would have been the first team this stage so far to take a map off the Seoul Dynasty, which would have been unbelievable. But as it stands now, Seoul Dynasty still undefeated, haven't dropped a single map, 3-0 in matches, 9-0 in maps.
Yeah, a very scary run here for the side of the Dynasty, who continue to just look like they're on top of the standings. And again, it seems like one of the only other teams that is going to be able to challenge them is the Shanghai Dragons, but that matchup doesn't happen until right near the end of the stage before the Summer Showdown. So we won't really know who is the top dog for a considerable amount of time, but the Dynasty continues to look scary. The Valiant, I think you put it the best, the lights are on. There's somebody home. They just aren't answering the door right now. They keep getting close, but then they say, I'll just let the doorbell ring, and they go ahead and they lay back down for another little nap. But clearly, I think that they're getting closer and closer to being able to put up some more consistent performances. They're consistently being competitive. It just hasn't netted them wins quite just yet. So we'll see how they fare moving forward for the rest of their matches here during the Summer Showdown qualifiers. But it is what it is. That does it from us here today. Another happy birthday, Sengal Chuka Hamnida, over to Stalker. Great little win for him and the rest of the team on his birthday. Always love to see that. But that's going to do it from us here tonight. I'm out for a considerable amount of time, guys. I've got some vacation stuff to go. Well, not vacation, but I've got some work travel to be doing. So Avril will be holding down the APAC for alongside some appearances, of course, from Leg Day, Trid, Lemon Kiwi, and whatnot. So I will miss all of you, and I will see you when I get back. But otherwise, good night, and make sure you tune in tomorrow.